Hey y'all, welcome back. Garden season 2025 is already well underway, even though you can see that there's snow on the ground behind me. The broccoli that we planted a couple of weeks ago together has grown, and it's 3 or 4 inches tall, so it's time for me to give it some extra room. I was not planning on doing a lot of potting up this year, but we did overplant because I thought my seeds were maybe a little bit old. I thought my germination rates would be pretty low. I was wrong. Almost every seed we planted germinated. So today, since it's beautiful out here, it's in the 50s today, I'm gonna go ahead and work on getting those potted up, and maybe I'll do another tray just so that we can kind of succession plant when it's warm enough. So first things first, I want to check and see if the dirt that I used last time is frozen, because as usual, I did not bring that in as part of my storm prep before the snowstorm. So let's see what we got. I've got plenty of cups from last year, and let's get started. This is actually recycled dirt from plants that didn't get planted last year, the extras. But I added a little more peat moss to it. I added some perlite to it last time, and it feels like it's pretty good. So I'm going to add some water to this, get it good and moist, and then we will get started. Okay, we're going to start with the broccoli, and I messed around and let it get a tad leggy. Honestly, I had started to get really discouraged because I thought that it was not going to come up. It seemed like it was taking forever. And then the next day I looked and it was like this tall. So just be patient. I guess it goes to show, just be patient. Because this is so leggy, I'm just gonna plant it a little deeper. And I think we can save most of them by doing it that way. If we just plant it where there's about 1 inch sticking up, I think it's gonna be okay. I do have them under grow lights. I don't know if my lights are a bit farther away than I realized or what, but that's all right. So I'm gonna fill these cups not quite as full this time, maybe about 2/3, and that way I'll have plenty of room to replant. On the ones like this one, he's the last little guy left in the cup. I'm just gonna see if I can support him a bit. Ideally, you won't let him get to this point, but if you do, don't despair. Some of them I'm not going to bother replanting. Like this one, I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of deformed and a lot smaller than the others, so we're just going to toss that out and the chickens can have a snack. And that's another benefit of not filling your cup too full when you plant them initially, because then you have a little extra room to add dirt around them, like I'm going to do with this one. The last little guy in the cup. So instead of trying to pull him up, I'm just going to add more dirt around him, and that's going to give him a little more support and hopefully help him have time to go from being too leggy to good and healthy. Some of them, like this little guy here, is already starting to get a true leaf right in here. So he's good, he's doing great, he's good and healthy. His stem was a little thicker, but I went ahead and planted him up anyway so that he would have a little more support around his stem. when you have them like this, I'm gonna try to separate these two little root systems and put them into different cups. I think, as long as we're careful, they shouldn't be any worse for the wear. They're actually pretty hardy. My biggest challenge right now is going to be finding a place to put these guys in the house because we don't have a lot of extra space, and this polar vortex coming in, the sprout house is going to be too cold. So I'm just going to do that. Even though some of them still have two, I think that's going to be okay. And I can always split them up when it's time to plant them in the ground. And that'll save me some space inside too. The other thing we had talked about last time was the experiment to see whether just the perlite on top or the dirt worked better. And I gotta say, I think the perlite worked better. I really like how these guys are sprouting. And I think I'm gonna do that more often. They seem to be less leggy. I think it took them a little longer to sprout, but they looked better when they finally did. For some of them, like this one, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull out the leggiest ones. And then that's gonna leave me with just 3 in this container, and I'm gonna leave them in there like that. And I'll just kind of scoot the ones that I left over. Like that. When you get these out of here, you just want to carefully lift it. We're not trying to cut the roots, but also they're a little hardier than it seems like they're going to be. So they can take a little bit of movement, and I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm just going to pull out the ones that don't look as healthy. Just like that. I'll put a little more dirt in here. Give these guys a little more support. I only have room for 2 more cups in my trays that I started over here. So I'm just gonna do the best I can. Give these guys a little bit better start without making too many extra cups. So instead of starting another tray of broccoli, I'm just gonna be super weird here and start some radishes. I've never actually been able to grow radishes very well in the ground. They grow, but they don't grow well. And I don't know, they just always taste weird. So I don't know if I grow them too late in the season, or it's the soil, or I don't fertilize them. I don't know, it's just always weird. So I'm gonna give them a head start this time, and I'm gonna see what happens. Radishes have become one of our favorite potato substitutes. If you throw them in a pot roast, or even the other night I actually boiled them and then mashed them with butter and cream, and it was close enough to mashed potatoes that I was not mad about what I was eating. So we're just gonna see what happens here. And I think by the time these are big enough to need to be repotted, I think it'll be time to put them in the ground. So maybe I can successfully grow some radishes this year. So again, I am just using my cheap feed store radish seeds. These are kind of weird. They look almost exactly like broccoli. They're just little tiny seeds. And I'm just gonna put one in each cell. I had actually forgotten that I had these little trays down there. I like the perlite method, so I'm gonna use that again. One thing I think I do with the radishes when I plant them in the garden is I think I plant them too close together. So hopefully this will help. So there we go. I think garden season 2025 is off to a really good start so far. We've got our broccoli, we've got some cauliflower, some cabbage, and hopefully these radishes will work out. You guys don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We have some really exciting things coming up, and I don't want you to miss anything. Thanks for watching.